All right. My name is Sydney,
My name is Morgan.
and we are going to talk about our macro intervention part 2 project regarding youth aging out of foster care. In the United States, 423,997 children are currently in foster care.
And of that number, 12,096 are in the Georgia DFAC system in 2021.
Over 700 children will age out of foster care in Georgia every year.
So, based on the statistics, we wrote our last paper addressing the multifaceted challenges faced by youth who are aging out of the foster care system. We did this by assessing past policies, programs, and initiatives aimed at alleviating some of the common and frequent stressors that present themselves during this critical transition period from adolescent to adulthood. Despite the past efforts, the reoccurring struggles continue to be prevalent and detrimental for this population. We focus on three main struggles: homelessness, teenage pregnancy, and unemployment. From there, we discuss what we believe to be the root causes and underlying issues that need to be treated from a macro and micro level intervention. We believe that meeting the biopsychosocial needs of the population during this transitional phase of life requires bigger intervention strategies that involve not only community efforts, but also change and improvement within the entire system.
So, our hypothesis of etiology and intervention hypothesis. For the hypothesis of etiology, because of the following: lack of financial support, lack of emotional support, lack of psychological intervention, the following has developed: high homelessness rates among youth, high teen pregnancy rates, high unemployment after aging out of care. And so, our intervention hypothesis is if the following interventions are implemented: broadening requirements of the ETV program at the Fanning Institute, increasing yearly financial aid for the recipients, providing life skills classes that are required for the program, assigning mentors to each recipient, then we would be able to combat the increase in homelessness, teen pregnancy, unemployment, and overall outcome of the adolescents aging out of youth.
So, based on those things, we have an intervention method that provides more funding for the ETV recipients. We added required life skills classes, and we will be conducting one course each funding year that is required. We'll also provide mentorship with recipients with volunteer based mentors. We'll increase the age requirement from 18 to 21 to 18 to 23 due to Georgia foster care laws. And then we'll also change the degree requirements. So we're going to add a trade school option instead of only allowing accredited university programs.
And for our goals and outcome objectives, so goal number one, we want to provide a smoother transition from foster care to adult life. Um, our second goal is to decrease rates of teenage pregnancy, homelessness, and unemployment among aging out youth. And our third goal is to break the cycle of unstable upbringings that a lot of children that are aging out of youth have already experienced due to not being adopted and going in and out of foster care families. So, our first objective is to provide comprehensive life skills programs that are going to be required by the recipients in order to receive the financial aid. And the second objective is to improve graduation rates and program completion among aging out of youth.
Okay, so the process objectives for the life skills curriculum will consist of how to write a resume, apply for a job, creating a savings account and learning about credit score, building healthy relationships, and mental health services. And these are just a few of the basic life skills that we feel like are needed for this population. So, our objectives for these different activities are evidence-based practice for foster youth, specifically the aging out population, research about outcomes and effectiveness, recruiting and training, mentors partner with agencies and community service organizations.
So for our process objectives, improving graduation rates, so how we're gonna do that. The first way is the approval of policy proposal, and then receive sufficient funding in order for the program to even exist. Recruit candidates that fall under the requirements for the program, and then mentors, continual support, and donated time, because it's going to be essential in terms of overall outcome for our recipients.
Okay, so some of the resources that we need for this expanded program is obviously funding, also volunteers to contribute to just investing in the candidates. We will need office space for administrative duties, and then also connections to policymakers.
So some of the key stakeholders, Morgan will talk a little bit more about this in our in our next slide, but this is just kind of a visual representation. So we have Athens as a community, community outreach, the Division of Family and Children's Services, because they do fund the ETV program primarily. And then the just mental health professionals that will contribute to the psychological resources that some of the aging out youth need. And then obviously the Fanning Institute at the University of Georgia, because they do provide the ETV program that we are looking to extend. And then the Foster Club of Georgia, which Morgan will talk a little bit more about.
Yeah, so this is kind of a web map of those things. So first, I'm going to start with mental health resources. So we will need trained professionals equipped with the skills necessary to treat the common diagnoses in foster youth, such as trauma, the relationship trauma, and also maybe depression, anxiety, and just other mental health disorders. The next one is Foster Club of Georgia. This is a local agency providing healthcare for former foster youth meetups and trainings and etc. So we were thinking we could partner with them and kind of use their amenities for some of our candidates if they need them. The third is communal support. We need the outreach organizations, partnerships, sponsorships, and churches and charity funds for monetary support, but also just spreading awareness of our program and helping get the needs met around the community. And then lastly is DFACS and Chaffee funds. So these programs that are already in place and agencies can help recruit the eligible participants, and we need to continue receiving the funding that we already have from these agencies, and also partner with the Title IV foster care program.
So some of the barriers that we believe are going to be part of implementing this program is requirements for the ETV program are pretty exclusive at the moment. Only individuals pursuing a degree and specialized training, trade school, are able to receive funding. So accepting candidates from all walks of life will be difficult to sell to the program, because they do need some kind of promise that that the recipients will have some kind of academic success, so they're not just pouring money into individuals that aren't going to use it. And then funding, obviously funding is always a barrier for any kind of program. Since the ETV program is primarily funded by DFACS, asking them to extend their resources further is challenging, because they are already stretched pretty thin. Finding people willing to volunteer their time. In children and family services, finding volunteers is difficult. Finding exceptional mentors for the adolescents, so not just people that don't care, like we really want people to be passionate about it so they can actually make an impact on these teenagers' lives. But finding people that are willing to volunteer their time without a paycheck is a difficult thing. And then policy. So on a macro level, politics have a lot to do with what policies are passed and what programs sink or swim. So Republican legislation versus Democratic. So that is going to have to do a lot with if our program is able to be implemented or not.
So the time frame that we came up with for our intervention is June of 21. We'll meet with David Myers, who is kind of the director of the ETV program at the Fanning Institute here at UGA. Then in August, we'll discuss with the coordinators of the ETV program about what's able to change and what's not, kind of get approval for our plan. October 21, we'll create a business plan for the implementation of change to the ETV program, hopefully making it more inclusive and accessible for even more recipients. February of 22, we hope to start reaching out to DFACS in order to begin the process of participant selection and getting the applications out there, and telling everyone about the ETV program and its new requirements. And then May 22, we hope to notify the candidates of our funding decisions for the 2022 to 2023 academic year. And this is a little graph of the budget. So we base this off of information that we received from David Myers, who, like I said, is the director currently. And he gave us a lot of numbers of where their money comes from and where they kind of disperse it and how they are able to fund everything. So about 10% are administrative costs, and these will include part-time salaries, for people implementing the program, so like me and Sydney. Also the policy proposal, of just the process of developing that, and then also resource materials, things that we need, like I said, for administration of it, and then also workspace, and any other unexpected costs are also in that budget. So estimated is $273,015. And then the big chunk of it, 90%, is going to student expenses. And because we are increasing the funding for each student and also increasing the eligibility for the number of recipients, we took their budget and just increased it by about 40%. So this category includes the living expenses for those who meet the eligibility criteria, and the estimated total is $2 million, right? $746,150.
And that is the end of our presentation. We really appreciate all of you for watching. Thank you.